This is the plaintiff, Joan Viola. She says she was driving down the street one day when all of a sudden the defendant hit her in the rear. They both pulled over, and the defendant had the utter nerve to ask her what her problem was. Huh? He hit her from behind, and he cops an attitude? Please. She's suing for $686.77, the cost of her damage. This is the defendant, Robert Mortara. He says they were at a traffic light. It turned green, the plaintiff proceeded, and then inexplicably stopped. He tapped her bumper. They got out, he wiped a smudge off her car, and on they went. Then, a month later, her husband calls saying he owes all this money for all these damages? Ha! He's accused of ramming into a woman from behind.
Okay, Joan Viola,
Yes.
You are suing Robert Mortara for $686.77 in damages you say he did to your car when he hit you from behind. Tell me what happened.
It was September 9th, 2010. It's about 5:50 p.m. I was traveling west on Route 34. I was approaching an intersection onto Churchill Road.
Okay.
This intersection has the blind spot, so you need to be almost 3/4 of the way through it before you can see if there's any oncoming traffic.
3/4 of the way through it? Or
Yeah.
3/4 of your car through? What do you mean?
No, you have to be 3/4 of the way through the intersection.
Through the actual intersection.
Before you can actually see if
What's
there's any.
blocking? Just the
It's
direction,
just
the pitch, the way it's...
Yeah, the pitch
Okay.
of the road, the way it's
All right.
set, and then there's a couple of bushes
Okay.
on the opposite side.
Okay.
So as I had my left-hand turn signal on. As I got about 3/4 of the way through, I saw an oncoming car.
Is this one lane each way, this road?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
There was an oncoming car coming from Glen Road who would have the right-of-way.
Right.
They were turning right. So I stopped to let that car turn right. And when I stopped, I was hit in the rear. I have a picture
you have
of
it?
the
Okay.
intersection.
Okay. Why don't you come on over here?
My husband.
Your husband? Well, he's a... Yeah, but you're the person who was there. He wasn't there, right?
He did the drawing.
No, he wasn't
Okay.
there.
Who's who here?
This is where I was traveling.
Okay.
Okay, this is the intersection.
Okay.
And this is the road that you can't see until you're almost 3/4 of the way
Okay,
through.
so this is you and this is you also.
Yes, this
Okay.
is me.
So you're traveling
this way.
this way, and then because of these trees and the angle of the road, you have to get pretty much in to be able to make your left, and then a car comes this way.
Correct.
So you slow down because that car is going to come from around you that way, and so you don't want to crash into him.
Right. No,
Okay.
the car, I'm coming this way, and I'm going slowly because I know I'm going to turn. I was only going about 5 miles an hour, and then I saw the car coming from this road.
So you
was a
you
car
slow down
coming.
because there's a car coming.
Right.
Okay.
To
Whether
let
he's
him
coming
turn.
on one side of you or the other, you just slow down because there's a car coming.
When I stopped at the intersection, because I saw the oncoming car, that's when I was hit in the rear of my car.
And so you get out of it. Was it hard?
It wasn't very hard, no.
I mean, did you?
It was more like a...
Didn't deploy
bump.
airbags or anything?
No,
Okay. So
no.
what'd you do?
We pulled over, and we got out of our vehicles, and I asked Mr. Mortara for his identification. He told me his name, and he gave me his phone number. I said, I need to see some identification. And he's, "Ugh." And I said, no, I need to see. I don't know that you are who you say you are.
Right.
You know, could give any name.
Right.
So then he said to me, well, I said, I want to see your license. He said, well, if I'm going to show you my license, I want to see your license. I said, fine, you know.
So you traded licenses, which is what the law requires. Okay.
We
Or
traded.
call the police, one or the other. All right. So then,
But, you know, in the process, he was getting more and more agitated. I was getting more and more nervous and concerned and feeling intimidated by him, which I don't generally, but he was pacing around, and it just was unsettling for me. So I took his information, and, you know, then we each went on our way.
Okay.
But when I got home and I told my husband what had happened, I asked him to please deal with him on the phone because I really didn't want to have anything to do.
okay, come on up, husband. What's your name?
Frank Viola.
Okay. So, Mr. Viola, you then take a look at the car, and do you have pictures of any damage?
I do. I have pictures of the damage, and I did take the car for an estimate.
Okay, let me see the estimate. How much damage was there?
$686.72.
Okay,
I believe
and
is
that's
the
based
estimate.
on the, a chip, a dent, a scratch, a couple things that are on the bumper. And how old is the car?
It's a 2008 Ford Taurus. The reason it's so expensive for the repair is that I have the backup sensors, so they need to take the whole bumper off the car to
Right.
repair it correctly.
Okay, so did you ever make an effort to call him and attempt to get paid?
Yes, I did.
How'd that go?
I called him and told him about the amount of the estimate that my wife had gotten, and he said it was too much, he's not going to pay it, but if I would bring it to a friend of his in Danbury, he would pay it.
Okay.
So I took the car down to the Danbury shop, and when I saw the shop, I realized that this was not the kind of shop that I would bring a vehicle to.
All right, what happened?
Well, Your Honor, her story is a little inaccurate. To begin with, this whole incident began at a traffic light, and she was turning left. I saw her signal light on. I was right behind her, turning left, and she took off from the light. And before we took off, I was looking across the way into the oncoming traffic lane, and I drive a heavy-duty van, and it sits up fairly high, so I can see out, and my visibility is quite good driving the van. So I looked across the way. There was no traffic coming at all. And Ms. Viola proceeded to take a left-hand turn. When she got basically committed herself into the oncoming lane, she just suddenly stopped dead for no reason at all, and totally unexpectedly. So when she was stopping, I still had my foot on the gas, so I had to quickly brake. And with the newer vehicles today, they all come with anti-lock brakes, so which means they don't lock up. So you come to like a skidding type of halt, a gradual stop.
Which is all the more reason why you shouldn't be inside her trunk, right? Like maybe you should have a little safer distance behind the car in front of you so that, you know.
Well, normally I do.
Because she's not
ma'am.
traveling at 30 miles an hour or 40 miles an hour to highway and then stopped, which is completely unexpected. She is turning. So why are you so close that you can't stop from bumping her?
Well, first of all, Your Honor, I wasn't that close, but I was still, proceeding, and I had my foot on the gas. I mean, there's no getting around that.
Do you think it's her fault?
Yes, I do.
So is somebody who brings up the rear end or rear end collision automatically responsible?
Technically, by law, they are. They were following too close, and you're supposed to keep it an even distance.
Is it that simple? You're following too close when you rear end somebody?
No, because the person in front could have gone slower than the legal speed limit.
And that's a defense?
Yes, or the person in front could have not been paying attention in front.
I'm not buying what you're selling. Going inside the courtroom.
Completely her fault.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Even though you're the car behind who bumped into her because you weren't traveling at a safe distance with giving you enough time to stop your car. You're not even telling me, well, Judge, it's sort of both our faults. She stopped short, and I was not traveling at a safe. You're telling me it's totally her fault.
Well, she was driving very capriciously, which means she basically stopped totally unexpectedly. When someone stops suddenly and totally unexpectedly...
Listen, let me tell you something. I have been there, and I have been there. I have been in both places. I understand. You think it's time to go and you figure the person's going to keep going. I understand. But if you are sufficiently behind them, if they stop, it's not going to make a difference. You're going to stop too. You're going to have time to stop. But if you're all up in their grill, it might be a problem. All right. I'm convinced. I find in favor of the plaintiffs in this case in the amount of $686.77. Verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So the plaintiff has collected in this case. Step on in here. The defendant coming out. What's your reaction to this outcome?
Well, I'm not very pleased with what happened. First of all, there was no police report filed, consequently no accident report. Consequently, she cannot substantiate any of the damage that happened that day. Any damages she does have could have incurred after that point in time. So I still feel as though I'm in right, and I don't think that this should have been awarded to her case.
Well, you hit her from behind, right? I mean, you had the front end. You had the front end problem.
Yes, I did. When someone stops totally unexpectedly, that's how accidents are caused.
When someone's making a left turn, don't you have to wait for them to proceed?
Well, I was right behind her.
Yeah, I know.
So, we're in traffic. So we left the light, and we both turned left. She stopped deadly, and that was it.
All right, you head this way. All right, so step on out here. You're satisfied with what you got out of this, I would imagine?
Yes, I am very satisfied.
How would you describe the Here, step up a little bit. How would you describe the defendant to deal with?
Difficult.
Well, you did the dealing with him? What was he like?
He was belligerent. He's saying, I know what happened here, and he was off.
He said you were stopping. What are you doing stopping right in the middle of the traffic like that? All of a sudden, just slamming on your brakes. Why'd you do that?
Well, according to him, I'm a wacky woman. That's what he called me. That's why I didn't want to deal with him, and I made my husband call him.
All right, that's it from in the courtroom, Harvey.
This guy's right. I mean, basically, you have to keep enough distance from the car in front of you to prevent an accident. But if somebody like backs into you, maybe then. But otherwise, you're responsible.